Good Friday morning. It is the 17th, and I need you to open up your math books and turn to page 585. Go ahead and pause until you get your math book out and turn to page 585. Okay, so today we are going to go over customary links. I know that you've learned this last year, and we've talked about it a little bit this year, but let's formally go over it all, okay? So, as you remember, I hope, there are 12 inches in each foot. There are 3 feet in each yard, okay? There are 5,280 feet in a mile, which means that there would be 1,760 yards in a mile, okay? Because every 3 feet, it takes 3 feet, 1, 2, 3, to make 1 yard, okay? So everybody kind of sort of starting to remember all this, okay? All right. So on page 575, let's look at this, okay? All right. So if we look at this, okay, we could say to build a new swing, Mr. Matson needs 9 feet of rope for each side of the swing and 6 more feet for the monkey bars. The hardware store sells rope by the yard. How many feet of rope does he need? Okay, so he is going to need, here, let's erase this part. He is going to need 9 plus 9 feet for the swing part, which would give me 18 feet, right? Okay. He is going to need 18 feet for the swing part, plus 6 more feet. How many feet does he need for the swing and the monkey bar? Okay, 18 for the swing, 6 more for the monkey bar, which would be 24 feet altogether, okay? Now, you remember, what was our measurement? There are 3 feet in 1 yard, remember? Okay? So, what are we going to do? He needs 24 feet altogether. So, how do we figure out how many yards he needs? Okay? Well, you're going to do what to this? What are you going to have to do to the 24 feet? You're going to have to divide it into 3 groups, okay? All right, why? Because how many feet does it take to make a yard? All right? So how many feet are in, how many yards are in 24 feet, sorry. Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to divide it by 3, right? You will get 8. He will need 8 yards of rope, okay? Does that make sense? Yes, it does, if you think about it. Look. You're going from 24 feet to how many yards? Okay. 3 feet equals 1 yard. You can change this into a fraction if you need to. All right? We're going to use in for what we don't know yet. Okay? All right? And what is a fraction? What do we say? A fraction is the same as a division problem. Okay? How many times will 3 go into 24? It will go 8 times. Okay? Anything divided by 1 is itself, right? So, the unknown in this case is going to be 8. Okay? All right. It's okay if you don't get it yet. That was just the first volley. Okay? Go ahead and turn to the next page and let's look at this, okay? All right. One of the problems that I noticed yesterday was that y'all were getting it backwards in how to go from measurement of a larger thing to a smaller thing, and measurement of a smaller thing to a larger thing. Meaning this, look, okay? Let's look at the first example. The distance between the new high school and the football field is 2 miles. How does this compare to 10,000 feet? Well, if you look at the box to the side, it tells you that 1 foot is 12 inches, a yard is 3 feet, a mile is 5,280 feet, which means a mile is also 1,760 yards, okay? So, step 1, it says convert 2 miles to feet, okay? What are we going to have to do to go from miles to feet? Okay, what did it say in the chart? 1 mile is, I didn't mess up enough room, I'm sorry, 5,280 feet, okay? So if you have a measurement of miles, which we do, we have 2 miles, okay? How do we get to the feet? Okay? A lot of you said you would divide, but stop and think about this, okay? All right? If 1 mile is this many feet, okay, how are you going to figure out 2 miles? You are actually going to multiply. So in that first blank, I need to multiply the total number of miles by what? You need to multiply it by how many feet are in a mile, right? Since there are 5,280 feet, okay, that's what you're going to multiply by. So your first 2 blanks on this page should say, I need to multiply the total number of miles by 5,280 feet. Okay, take a moment, write that down if you need to. Pause if you need to, okay? So what are we going to do? We're going to take this 2 miles and we are going to multiply it by 5,280 because that's how many feet are in each mile, okay? And when we do that, we will come out with, we need 10,560 feet, okay? All right, so the next 2 blanks are going to say 5,280 and 10,560, okay? All right, so then underneath it says 2 miles equals 10,560 feet, okay? Those should be all the blanks that are filled in right there on that page, okay? All right. Are y'all starting to see why y'all kind of had that backwards? Okay. All right. So let's look at example 2. Okay. Example 2. It says mixed measures use more than 1 unit of measurement. You can convert a single unit of measurement to mixed numbers. So if we needed to convert 62 inches into feet and inches, what are we going to do? Okay, well, first we have to use the table, right? Our table at the top says that it takes what? Okay. It takes 12 inches to make 1 foot, right? So, looking at that first blank, it says, I am changing from a smaller unit. You're changing from the smaller unit, the inch unit, to a larger unit, okay? So when you're going from a smaller unit, it actually has more things in that unit, okay? Stop and think about that. Okay, think about that for a minute, okay? So if you're going from a larger group, because it's a smaller unit, I know it doesn't seem like it makes sense, but it really does, okay? Because look, here's 1 foot, okay? Here's 12 inches. We would have to divide this into 12 pieces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Mine's not pretty, but you see the point, right? Okay, these are the same, okay? So if you know this one and you need to get to this one, okay, you're going to have to do what? Well, you're going to have to divide when you're changing from a smaller unit to a larger unit, because the smaller unit, this is why we learned fractions first. The smaller unit is the same size as the larger unit. It's just broken into more pieces. So in that first blank, I'm changing from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So I divide, okay? Write the word divide in that first blank, okay? All right, so what does 62 inches, okay, how many feet are in 62 inches? So I'm going to take that 62 inches and I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide it by what? I'm going to divide it by 12 because that's what I got, right? All right, how many times will 12 go into 6? It won't. How many times will 12 go into 62? Okay, so do your multiples of 12. So you got 12, 24, 36, 48, and then 60. That was 5 times, right? So 5 times 12 is 60. All right, so you have 2 left over. So look, guys, you were trying to fill in this number up here, right? How many feet, I've got that a little too close, sorry. How many feet were in 62 inches? There were 5 whole feet with 2 inches left over. So 62 inches is the same as 5 feet and 2 inches. Okay. Now, we kind of skipped over step number 2. Okay. So just for your information, under the inches in feet blank, you would put 12 is 5. What is that, an R? Sorry, mine's a lot smaller than yours. With a remainder of 2, right? Well, that's what we just said. We just talked it out, okay? But these are what the blanks that you're going to fill in are. Okay, so 62 inches is 5 feet, 2 inches. Okay? All right. How's everybody doing so far? Macy, honey, I love you, but you are way too close. Okay, dude, yeah, just keep it steady there. Tell me if I'm going out of my space. Okay. Sorry, guys. New helper today. Everybody say hi to Macy. Okay, so let us try some of these, okay? Let's try some of these. Do not forget your measurements, right? So what measurements are we keeping in mind while we're working on our practice problems? Okay, we are now on page 587, okay? Everybody go ahead and turn to page 587. We've done page 585, we've done page 586, okay? So, 587 doesn't have a chart at the top. So go ahead and right at the top, okay? Look, right here in this space at the top of your page, go ahead and make a little chart, okay? Make a little chart for yourself to help you remember, okay? So far we are dealing with feet, inches, and miles, right? So, just right up in the corner, go ahead and put, Macy, can you still see me? 1 foot is 12 inches, okay? 1 yard is 3 feet, okay? 1 mile is 5,280 feet. And I would go ahead and just convert it to yards too. 1 mile is the same as 1,760 yards. Oops. Okay? So go ahead and put a little chart at the top of your thing so that while we're working on it, okay, you can remember, okay? So let's go ahead and try number 2. Number 2 has, Am I still in frame?
Yeah.
6 yards. It wants to know how many feet, right? Okay, so we are going from yards to feet, right? There are way more feet than there are yards. So if we're going from the yards, which is a larger amount, but a smaller number, what are we going to do to tell how many feet? Okay, again, change this into a fraction, okay? So 6 yards over 1 yard. And we have this unknown, we're going to name n, over 3 feet. Okay? All right, 6 divided by 1 is 6, right? N divided by 3. Uh-oh, what do we do? Well, what do you do when you need to get rid of something? You gotta get that n by itself, so we're going to have to do the opposite. So if a fraction is the same as dividing, the opposite would be multiplying. So we're going to multiply by 3, right? And you do it to each side, okay? All right, do you remember what I told you about canceling out if there's one on the top and one on the bottom? They cancel each other out, right? There's 3 on the top, a 3 on the bottom, so we're just left with n over 1, which is the same as anything divided by itself is itself, right? And we've got 3 times 6. Okay, 3 times 6 is 18. So to come back up here to our actual original problem, how many feet are there in 6 yards? There are 18. Okay, did I confuse you yet? I did it this way because I wanted to make sure you understood why it's multiplying and not dividing, okay? All right. So, let's try number 3 real quick, okay? Number 3 says, we are going to go from 90 inches to feet and inches, okay? So, again, inches. You're going from 12 inches to 1 foot, right? Okay? You're going from the smaller unit to the larger unit, okay? And don't forget, feet, inches. Okay? A lot more inches than there are in 1 foot, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to divide, okay? So let's do that. We're going to take our 90. We're going to divide it by 12. Okay? So how many times will 12 go into 9? It won't. How many times will 12 go into 90? Okay? So what do we know? We so far got up to 12 times 5 is, that's right, it's 60. 12 times 6 would be 72. 12 times 7 is, do y'all remember? Y'all are not great with the 12s. Sorry. 64. And then 12 times what? 7 is what? That's 84. Okay, so we now know how many feet, right? How many feet? It went 7 whole times, so that's how many whole feet we got. Now, how do we find out the inches? What do? We take the remainder. So 90 minus 84 would leave me with 6. That's right. So in this case, it is 7 feet, 6 inches. Okay. All right. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try real quick number 4 and 6, okay? You're going to try number 4 and 6. So what I want you to do, you're doing number 4 and 6 on this page, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to pause it, do these two numbers, and then come back. You ready? Pause. Okay, so hopefully you stopped, you figured it out, okay? Number 4 says we are going from 125 inches to feet and inches, okay? So you want to go from inches to feet. What do we do? Again, there are a lot more inches than there are feet that take up the same amount of space, so we're going to do what? We're going to divide, okay? So we have 12 inches in a foot, so we're going to divide 125 inches by 12, okay? How many times will 12 go into 1? It will not. How many times will 12 go into 12? It will go 1 time. 1 times 12 is 12. Okay, we subtract, we bring down our next number. Okay, how many times will 12 go into 5? It will not, so 0 times. 0 times 12 is 0. We are left with 5. We don't have any more numbers. So, Madeline, honey, you got to keep it still. Okay. All right, so we have how many whole feet? We had 10 whole feet with 5 inches left over. All right. Okay, so for number 4, you should have gotten 10 feet, 5 inches. Okay, let's try number 6. Okay, we had 42 yards and 2 feet. We want to go to how many feet? Okay, so this one was slightly trickier, okay, because you're going to have to basically do all right, well, first of all, what are you going to do? Are you going to multiply or divide? So look, yards to feet, okay, you are breaking it up, so you're going to have to multiply. So you're going to have to take that 42 and multiply it by 3, right? We're not going to do anything with this part yet because it's already in the unit that we are trying to get to, okay? So first thing we have to do is convert those yards, okay? So 42 times 3. 3 times 2 gives me 6. 3 times 4 gives me 12. So right now I have 126 feet, okay? But don't forget, you also started off with 2 extra feet. You got to add them back on here, okay? So 126 feet plus the 2 that we started with gives me 128. So for this one, you should have gotten 128 feet. Okay. Is there anybody who's not sure how I got there? Okay, if so, you need to comment in the bottom. I will get back to you, give you a personal video, re-answer that, whatever we need, okay? All right, so let's look. Okay, when you are comparing, look at number 7, sorry. When you are comparing feet to yards, okay? Just like when you were comparing, okay, so, dude, honey, just keep it still. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Okay, for instance, when you are comparing 1/3 and 1/2, what did I say we had to do? Okay, before you can compare them, you have to get them to common denominators, right? What number will both 3 and 2 divide into? They'll both be into 6, right? So it's really easy to see once you've made the common denominators that 1/2 is larger than 1/3, okay? Remember how I compared doing all of this to using fractions, okay? You're going to use that same principle when we are trying to compare units. So we're on number 7. We are comparing 8 feet to 3 yards, okay? We cannot compare them like they're at, okay? So you are going to have to change one of these. Does it matter to me which one you change? It does not, okay? I'm actually going to change yards. I'm going to show it to you both ways. I'm going to change yards first, okay? How many feet are in a yard? There are 3 feet for every yard. So what are we going to have to do if we're going from yards to feet? We have to multiply, okay? So 3 yards is the same as what? 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 feet, okay? Which is bigger, 8 feet or 9 feet? Well, clearly, 9 feet would be larger, okay? All right, now let's redo that the other way, okay? Let's say I want to change 8 feet into yards instead, okay? Going from feet to yards, okay? Yards are larger than feet, okay? So you're going to have to divide, right? So we're going to take the 8 feet and let's divide by 3, okay? How many times will 3 go into 8? It'll go 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. And you're left with 2, right? So 8 feet is the same as 2 whole yards with 2 feet left over. So which is bigger? Okay, clearly 3 yards is bigger, okay? All right, so again, the main thing you have to remember for these type of problems is that you have to convert, okay? So I am going to ask you to pause again and do numbers. Oops, Miss Davis is really bad with this pen today. Numbers 8 and 9, okay? All right, ready? Pause. Hopefully you paused, you answer these two, okay? So, 2 miles, and we are comparing that to 10,500 feet, okay? All right, personally, I'm going to change the miles. I'm choosing to change the miles into feet. So, for every 1 mile, there are 5,280 feet, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply. So 5,280 times 2 to see what I have. I want to convert it to feet, okay? All right, 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. 2 times 5 is 10, okay? So I've got 10,560. I'm comparing it to 10,500. Clearly, this is going to be the larger one. Okay? All right, could you have done it the other way around? Absolutely. It does not matter to me. Just like when you're doing fractions, it doesn't matter as long as they have the same denominator. This way, it doesn't matter as long as they have the same units. Okay? We're going for units this time. All right, so let's look at 9 real quick. 9 says 3 yards, 2 feet, and we are comparing that to 132 inches. Okay? All right. I'm going to change them both. Ooh, now this one is kind of hard because look, this is in inches, this is in feet and yards, okay? So you're going to have to change it more than once to get there, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change these yards to feet, okay? How do I do that? How do I change yards to feet? Okay, well, for every 1 yard, that's 3 feet. So I'm going to come over here and say 3 yards times 3 gives me 9 feet plus 2 more feet, right? Okay, 9 feet plus 2 more feet. So far in feet, this would be 11 feet, okay? So we've changed it from yards so that everything is in feet, okay? But we're still not done yet because this is in feet, this is in inches, okay? So I'm going to then say, all right, 11, how do I get from feet to inches? I'm going to multiply by 12, right? So I'm going to take 12, I'm going to multiply it by 11, okay? 1 times 12 is 12. 1 times 12 is 12. That gives me 132, right? All right, so we are now at 132 inches. Guess what, guys? That makes that these are equal, right? All right, so what you're going to do is you are going to practice on our next, well, it's not really next page. All right, so you are going to turn to page, here, I'm going to erase this. It's not page 589, okay? You are going to do the even numbers, remember, only even. You're going to do numbers 2 to, let's see. Actually, you're not going to do even numbers. Let's see. You are going to do 2 and 3. You are going to do 5 and 8. You are going to do 11 and we'll do 13. Okay? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. Okay? Show your work. All right? Any questions, ask them down below. All right, guys. Good luck. Good job. I know you're going to do great.